All right, guys, we got an insane bit of information here. The event dungeon just went from being completely useless outside of the specific tournaments and stuff for it to now being one of the best gear sets in the game. Now, this is not going to be going live immediately, so there'll be no changes in game. This should be going live sometime next week. I want to go over and break down how this is going to work. If you have any questions, leave them down below, but there's going to be a massive change happening. So let's go ahead and open this page up. This is going to be before the rebalance up top, which is the current very poor stats. We have the speed on the 3-piece, which pinpoint is so good, partially because 2-piece gives an extra 10% speed, meaning you can just throw a ring and a necklace on a champion. And as a relatively early game player, this is amazing. It's the best speed boost you're going to get from really anything, and it was very easy to farm. This dungeon is easier to farm than most of the other pinpoint rotations, and with this new change, it's going to be just, if not more, worth doing. So this was the old version. This is the new version. Now, at first, you just see the speed being moved. You see the resistance being separated a little bit. So resistance on 1 and 3, there's no more HP percentage boost, which is fine, and there's still the immutable stacks. Now, the change to the immutable buff and how that works, completely game changing. Currently, it was basically if you had Fabian doing a lockout skill, you had 3 turns of intercept, or actually 3 stacks of intercept. Fabian, or Crixia, who locks your champions out for 3 turns, is going to basically use the immutable stacks, and you're not going to be actually locked out. So that's how it was working before. So the only real way to make it consistently work against most champions would be having a 6-piece or a 9-piece set, which stopped the idea of having any stone skin, anything like that. Well, now how it's going to work is the immutable buff will block an attempt to increase a skill's cooldown on a champion. A champion can receive multiple stacks of the immutable buff. Each immutable stack will negate a single attempt to increase a skill's cooldown on a champion. For instance, if a skill specifies that it increases a skill's cooldown by 3 turns, a single immutable stack will block that cooldown increasing effect entirely. So, Warlord, 1 stack of immutable, doesn't matter. You're not getting locked out. After a single attempt to increase a skill's cooldown, the number of immutable stacks used will be decreased by 1. The immutable buff has no duration and therefore cannot have its duration increased or decreased. The immutable buff also cannot be spread to allied champions. If an attempt to increase a skill's cooldown is made against a champion who is immune to cooldown increasing effects and has immutable stacks, an immutable stack will not be removed. However, if an attempt to increase a skill's cooldown is made and cannot be resisted, an immutable stack will be removed. If a champion has immutable stacks and another champion attempts to place immutable stacks that are less than the champion currently has, the number of immutable stacks on the original champion remains unchanged, so you're not getting extra ones. If a champion steals immutable from an enemy, they will also steal as many immutable stacks as the initial champion had when the buff was stolen. Now, the above mentioned changes are scheduled for next week, along with small fix that will speed up team attack animations for turtle-only teams. When reading this, it looks like it could be saying, if you have a Warlord or a Crixia or a Fabian, that okay, you have 3 skills, Fabian tries to lock out everything, Immutable is only going to stop one of those skills from being locked out. That's not how it's actually going to work. It's going to stop one instance of that ability. We have confirmation in the content creator chat that is the case, so 1 stack would prevent all the skills from being blocked. Confirmation says yes. I'm not going to copy and paste those messages, but unless something different comes out, that is the way it's going to be working. So now the Chronophage set actually becomes extremely, extremely valuable. Now you don't have to worry about, okay, you're running a heavy legendary champion team where you can't swap forms and you don't want to get locked out. Well, just throw a 4-piece set of Chronophage on and you literally cannot be locked out. That is game changing for the arena. Now, this is going to affect a lot of different champions, Crixia not really being one of them because she actually removes all buffs before doing the increased cooldown portion of her skill. But champions like Fabian, who are very popular in the arena, don't remove buffs. They actually reduce the duration of buffs, which Immutable, no duration, only stacks, won't be removed by the buff duration decrease, but instead will be removed because it's going to be saving you from the instance of Fabian using that A3 ability. So potentially, if you were running somebody like a Yumiko and a Fabian tried to lock out your team, Yumiko had Chronophage on, she could just be going really fast, Fabian locks out everybody else, Yumiko is there to then reset. And since she reduces skill cooldowns by 3 turns, and Fabian would have already increased them by 3 turns, it'll just neutralize and the enemy team will be locked out because Yumiko also puts their skill cooldowns on 3-turn cooldown as well. There's a lot of other champions like Warlord, of course. We have Lazarius switching to a second form. So any champion doing lockout skills, this is very powerful. But even more so than that, or just as much so, is the fact now it's actually on par with pinpoint. Now, we don't get the accuracy changes as well. It's not going to be as generally used, I don't think, as pinpoint. But for legendary champions, this is going to be extremely good, especially those champions who you're sick and tired of being locked out. Most lockout champions do not have a strip before their lockout, at least not the way Crixia does. So she is a bit unique, and this not really working against her. But all the other champions, it should work out great. The change they made to this, so good. I'm actually considering now to go in here and get some of these deals. It's about to end in 9 minutes, so maybe I get one. But if you guys are interested in making any purchases in Raid, use APTOIDE. Click the link down below. You can get 10 to 25% cash back on your purchases. If you use my code, I'll get 5% of your cash back, which is not taken from you because you'll get an extra 5% cash back on your purchase. It is the only way I do any spending inside of Raid. There's a video link down below that'll go through all the information on how to get set up on APTOIDE. I'll be getting a new code in the next few days, so join Discord to stay up to date on that as well. But either way, guys, I got to say, Plarium, I'm very happy to see this change to Chronophage because the event dungeon was absolute trash before this, but now I'm definitely going to be farming. And all of a sudden, this has become one of the most important gear sets to have. I actually just farmed stage 20 a ton of times just to get this event done because I was like, I don't really care about stage 30. I don't want to waste the energy. I just want to do this one. I just want the Immortal Soulstone. I got it, but now I actually want the gear. Let's see if I got anything decent so far. As far as accessories, I know I didn't. But as far as artifacts, I think I may have got like one. Okay, I got a pair of speed boots. And those are amazing. They're beautiful pair of speed boots, actually. I wasn't even going to level them, but now I definitely am going to level them. Get some extra speed here, maybe. But man, that is a awesome welcome change to the Chronophage set. Right up there with the pinpoint set. Maybe even, actually, probably even higher than the pinpoint set, actually. In specific situations, you can use a Chronophage over pinpoint. And, I mean, against Fabians, when you really need your champion skills there, absolutely incredible. Very good job, Plarium. Love to see it. Thank you for making that change now versus a few months down the road. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed that little update there, and I'll catch you all in the next one.